and welcome back to Scarred for Life, the podcast where we open up old wounds by looking back at the films that scared us as kids. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth.
In each episode, our special guest brings with them a movie that traumatized them as a child.
This week, our guest is Terrell Trotty. He is a YouTuber and the host of the Blu-ray Tuesday with Terrell at the Overlook Theater. Welcome to the show!
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited. Thank you.
I'm
excited too. It was so cool to meet you at Unnamed Footage Festival and then get to serve on the jury with you. This is great. Meeting new friends
it's like full
everywhere.
circle, yes. And thank you guys for coming to Up 666 was awesome. I had a good time. The movies were great this year. Mary Beth, better than last year, right? Because you're on the jury with me last year.
It was. It actually was it was wild. It was so much harder to pick a favorite or pick our favorites rather than last year because there was just so many good things.
A lot, all the way around.
It was great for a newbie that hadn't been before. This was a great entry point. I had a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to come back.
Yeah,
but let's talk. I want to hear about your YouTube channel or the YouTube show that you do on the Overlook Theater channel. Is that how it works?
Yes.
Blu-ray Tuesday with Terrell. Can you tell us a little blah blah blah? Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your show?
Awesome. Yeah. So Blu-ray Tuesday with Terrell. I've been doing this the 80th episode does drop this week on Thursday. So I don't know, it's crazy how many I've had, right? So it all started with, I've been collecting Blu-rays for years since before I can remember, even when I was younger, I was collecting VHS tapes. And so I don't know. I just got on Instagram, I became pretty big on the Instagram because I buy them every week. I talk about them. For about 7 years on the Overlook Theater, I used to do write-ups. So I used to write about everything that's coming out every week, what I thought about each one. And we were like, maybe we should turn this into a visual thing. So over the years, I was skeptical. I was I'm kind of out there, people, I don't know if they can relate to me. I say off the wall stuff, I'm a mess. So for me, I was I don't know if that's right. So I tried it and the reception's been great. So I'm happy. So far, I haven't got canceled yet. I'm 80 episodes in. So I've gotten better with spoilers because I'll spoil stuff, especially if I don't like it. But I'm getting a little bit better. But that's where, for 7 years I was doing just the write-ups. And then this past 2 years ago, I started doing the weekly thing on YouTube.
So do you do a combo of new and is it all newer releases, newer titles, or is it Arrow releases special edition of older titles? Is it kind of a combination of all that stuff?
A combination of all of it. So usually whatever comes out that week, I talk about I usually start with a story. I'd be having some crazy stuff happen throughout the week. So I talk about that. They go into certain movies that I've seen on VOD. I try to talk about those because all these things are sometimes overlooked. The Overlooked Theater, overlooked films. So I try to watch those that not everyone's going to watch because maybe I might get people to watch them. Case in point, Tiffany the Doll on Tubi. I've got so many messages for people who watched it because of my review of Tiffany the Doll. Yes. And just recently, the director, Felicia Rivers, reached out to me on Facebook. She shared my videos and she said her and her partner just cannot stop watching because thought it was funny. Yeah. So she sent me a list of all her movies. She wants me to review all her movies because of that. Literally, she's been messaging yesterday. I was recording. I didn't watch anything else this past week, and she's like, "Oh, don't forget to watch my movies," because she's been seeing my little clips. Yeah, I don't know. It's so fun. I don't know. So I do that.
That's awesome.
I love the labels like Arrow, Severin, all that stuff. I do cover those when those do come out as well. Little of everything, new and old.
That's so cool. So what I love about it too, by the way, is that I guess now VOD tends to come out on Tuesdays or Fridays, but for a while there, it was when I was a younger buck.
Yeah.
Interesting choice of words, but all right.
I know, younger buck.
I don't know.
Okay, young buck.
Dead. Okay. But I remember when I was younger, my favorite thing was Tuesdays because you'd go to Shopko or Walmart or not Walmart because they sell sometimes edited stuff and but Target or whatever, and I would on Tuesdays and I'd load up on a whole bunch of DVDs. So I love this concept of continuing that tradition because I don't think people go out to buy movies on Blu-ray as much anymore as they used to.
I know. I'm a huge collector. I love Tuesdays.
Me too.
Every Tuesday I was at Target. Even when I was younger, I would get when I was like my first job was McDonald's, and I was 16. The first I would buy video games and movies every Tuesday. I was there. Tuesday was always my favorite day. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, my all-time favorite show. I know y'all ain't watched it, but my all-time favorite show. And I watched that every Tuesday on 8:00 Tuesdays. Everyone out of my room, like my little brother and sister knew, and so it's always been my favorite day for various different reasons. So, yeah.
Well, also, I want to hear more about how you got hooked up with the Overlook Theater, because the Overlook Theater was primarily a blog, and now it's like a lot of podcasts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. Yeah, so it was a blog. And yeah, so in 2012, 2013, I worked at a frame shop, Aaron Brothers. If you guys, it's no longer a thing. But yeah, I worked there, and I was the assistant manager at the time, and Russell came in for an interview. Russell is one of the co-founders of the Overlook Theater. And yeah, so he came in. It was my first person I've ever interviewed ever. And I was thrown into this. I was no prep, but, I was very professional. He could tell you. But then we started talking about Annabelle and the Conjuring movies. I got so off topic. We started talking about horror movies. During that time, though, I never had friends that were really into horror. I was like the odd man out in my group of friends at the time. And so I had no one really talk to about this. And he actually picked me up one day. He got the job, by the way. But I remember he told Oksana, who's his wife, baby mama, all the above, girlfriend. And basically, he was like, oh, yeah, if I don't get the job, we got to hang out with this guy. So it's kind of funny. So he actually picked me up one day. My first movie I reviewed on the Overlook Theater was Willow Creek, found footage. You seen that, Mary Beth?
What a good
Great movie, by the way.
I love Willow Creek. It's so good. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I saw it for the first time after talking with, I think, Robbie. I think he's the one
Robbie, because it's what Robbie
that makes sense.
Robbie Banfich's like favorite movie, or one of his favorites.
It's so good. Willow Creek.
It's
great movie.
So
That's my first movie I reviewed. So that's how I got into it, was with that. And then I started doing the Blu-ray Tuesday write-ups shortly after that. And now we're here.
That's awesome. So
that's so cool.
Have you always wanted to be a writer? Have you always been a writer?
No, I've always had an imagination, though. I was always, like Buffy, we could go back to that, but Buffy was my all-time favorite show. When it ended in 2003, I was like a sad little 14-year-old boy. I was writing my own fan fiction for the new season. I still have that book. When I moved, I found it. I wrote a whole season 8 and 9. Yes, before the comic book. I should have sent that into somebody or something. I don't know. But yeah. No, writing was never like anything that I wanted to do.
Cool.
I don't know, just happened, I guess. That's awesome. A little bit. Yeah.
Cool. So then I would love to start talking about how you got into horror, because it sounds like you've been a horror fan for a long time, right? So like, how old were you when you watched your first horror movie?
I would probably say around 2 to 3 years old.
Oh my god!
And that was because my aunts used to watch me a lot. My mom was working a lot, single mom, so I was with my aunts a lot, right? And they used to always rent Child's Play 2. Leprechaun, and Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was one of the first movies I ever seen. Let me tell you, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. And I was always scared to go to sleep. Oh, and Candyman. Those are the ones. I watched those in rotation all the time.
Oh my god.
And my aunts, as I grew up, this is all the ones I would watch over and over. So, we watched Charles. It wasn't Disney, it wasn't Lion King, which I like those, but it was Nightmare on Elm Street, it was Child's Play, it was these movies. So as I grew up, I was always scared, but I loved it. I don't know what kept drawing me back into it. And I like scaring my siblings because I'm the older. I have a little brother, a little sister, and I was the one scaring them. My little brother hated Myers, and he got on my mother. I can't cuss. I could cuss. On my mother's nerves, I would tell him like, "Hey, Michael, gonna come get you." I would sing the song that do 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 do. Yes. And yeah, and then I remember my aunts, they used to terrorize us too. They used to hawk us in the bathroom and say Bloody Mary and Candyman all the damn time. So I was just thrown into this. I was so scared. When Scream came out, I was trying to take a nice shower, wash my body, get clean. And then my auntie go turn off all the lights and run in with that glow in the dark ghost face. Scared the shit out of my naked ass. I was like, this girl. So it was this whole experience. That is my growing up. I was terrorized as a kid. And now we're here. Now I'm just so numb to it. I don't get scared that much with these
you
movies.
were literally put through the ringer your entire childhood.
Yes, it was
no fear response 1000%. Ever again. Nothing can scare you anymore.
Unless it's a rat. I'm terrified of those. That's a scar for life. Or rodents. I can't do it.
So rats are a no.
No.
So,
no.
Okay, you said that you were really scared as a kid. You're not scared as much now. Has anything recently kind of gotten to you or scared you? Is there anything you could think of?
Supernatural stuff kind of gets me.
Okay.
Like the paranormal, the first Paranormal Activity, we watched that this past that fucked me up when I was younger because when it first came out, I'm sorry. And I'm used to the trauma. I went back the next day to see it again. So when I seen it for the first time, I was scared because that shit moving and those noises, I kind of lived that. And then
Wait, what?
I went home that night afterwards and my door was wide open. I was so scared. I remember watching the Flintstones to put me to sleep and I was just so scared. So basically when I was younger, 17, 18, or first time drinking, I was a good boy until then. And then we did it. We made our own Ouija board, y'all. I don't recommend this at home.
Why would you do that?
Yes. So my friend's girlfriend was moving out of this house, and I always said that house was haunted because I'd be hearing shit, right? And then we're like, okay, we're about to move. It's the last day in this house, and we just made one. A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, yes, no, goodbye, and hello. We did all that. We put it all together. We got a shot glass in the middle. That shit moved. I don't care what nobody say. I didn't move it. I asked if they moved it. I don't think they moved it either. Then we heard the lights flickered, and I heard a thump upstairs, and there was no one up there. My big ass was out of that house, so I cannot make. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. Seriously. So when I watched Paranormal, when I heard that thump, 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 and them lights.
Okay.
No, ma'am. I was like, get me out of here. So that's why Paranormal fucked me up. That was the only movie. And The Conjuring was kind of that was scary. Yeah. But besides that, yes, that supernatural stuff really, not for me. Don't do a Ouija. And guess what? I didn't say goodbye. So that I might have a demon. If y'all see some floating around here, that's because
Unfriended 3. Terrell brings the demon to the podcast recording. It's like, oh my God, this is the next Razin Nest, the haunted podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Snoozy.
Yes. Oh, that was boring as hell, and I'll tell you that right now. That was never on my list. That Razin Nest, I could have waited for that shit to end. Sorry.
Period. Same though, and here's the thing. I watched it by myself like last year because it was at some festival earlier, and I was
seen it
watching
twice?
it.
Oh yeah.
Where'd you go have lunch this year?
I went to the second time.
Oh my God!
I was like, maybe it was gonna be better at a movie theater. I was like, maybe because maybe with the crowd because it definitely has like a lot of in jokes with like horror and stuff. I was like, maybe. Yeah. And Mary Beth hadn't seen it, so I was like, let's just go see it. I want to start it, and I was like, oh.
Mary Beth, how'd you feel about that?
No comment.
Okay, no problem. Moving on.
I liked his first movie, but this one was not for me.
Well, me too.
This one was not for me.
And that caught me off because that Masking Threshold, I didn't think I would like that. And there's rats in that. But that movie was great. I love that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So when you were talking about making a homemade Ouija board, it brought me back to my childhood because I never made a Ouija board, but my dad did collect. Well, my dad did collect a lot of books, and some of them were had like dark magic rituals in them.
Yeah.
What?
So you
what?
Yeah. And
so did you ever do any dark magic?
Well, we tried
as a young buck.
Yeah, as a young buck.
I'm just
get him.
Buck.
Yes,
even younger buck, like young buck, like junior high ish.
Are you for real right now? Are you fucking with me for real?
Yeah, he thought he was a Wiccan.
No. My dad has actually sold one of his books and to Guillermo del Toro.
Oh wow, really?
Like online, like he was. What's that?
Yeah, the actual director, the guy. I can't say his
Guillermo
name.
del Toro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You see me trying to say.
I was like, I knew what you were trying to say, but I wanted to see where you were going with it. I was like, no, I want to know. I want to go on this journey.
I already messed it up.
I want to go on the journey.
He's trying to make me repeat it.
For a while, my dad had a really successful eBay shop that he would sell books for, and Guillermo, through his assistant, bought one at one point. So it might be sitting in his bleak house. Is that what he calls it? Like his.
Wait, I gotta go back to the dark magic rituals. What the?
Okay.
Yeah, please. I want to hear about this.
So he collected like a lot of books. He had a lot of Bibles. He had a lot of
they get to offset
like
that
demonic books. And I was like in junior high with my friend that was spending the night, and I remember we went downstairs and we were like reading through the book, and it was like talking about all the things you needed, and we went on like a fetch quest to go find stuff.
Oh my God.
We couldn't find everything though.
Fuck are you just now telling me this story?
See?
Years of friendship. You had an Evil Dead moment? You legitimately
Oh my God, you had a Necronomicon moment.
You're right.
All right, hold on. You have heard me talk about how terrified I am of demons for 4 years.
Oh.
And you are just now telling me about your dad having dark magic ritual books?
So I bring some new stuff out of him now, Mary Beth.
You really did. You brought out the dark side.
I did.
You brought out the dark side of Terry.
I did.
I'm an old buck now.
An old buck?
And my memory is not as good as it used to be. And so it was just like a memory that got triggered because of talking about making homemade Ouija board.
Oh my god.
This is what happens, Mary Beth.
That's incredible. It's just such a good story.
The problem is we didn't have all the stuff because it was asking for like
pig's blood,
silver, and like just like all this random stuff, and so we sort of did the ceremony, the ritual without a lot of it.
Oh wow! Did it work? Anything happen? What y'all conjure?
Well, a candle flickered in the basement, and it just sort of like started waving back and forth where there was like no wind.
Wow,
and that was it.
I believe it. I believe in that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. Mary Beth, what about you? You got to have some story.
You have for years told me that you've never had paranormal experiences and that you don't believe in it.
Well, I don't.
You don't believe in it after you had a candle? Oh my god, I do.
There's so many things that could have happened. I mean, it's like it just.
Well, it wasn't like it went too when I heard thumps and the lights flickering. And that old lady who died. I did research on that house. Oh, sorry. So
this is very funny because I talked to my therapist about this. About like
is this
about how
your therapist?
No, I would talk to her about like if I heard the thump and the lights flicker. Yeah, there's like 50,000 explanations for that. But you know what? The other explanation, it could be a demon, and I am not waiting to find out. And she's like, that's weird. I'm like, no, it's not. I've watched so many horror movies. Do you know? I was like, do you understand the things I have seen and the things that I know can happen? If I even get a whiff of that, I am out of there. I don't want to find out. Get me out. She's like, that might be part of your OCD. And I'm like, good. I don't care. I have self-preservation. I was like, fine. If that means I have OCD, then that means I'm safe.
Oh man, get it? Yeah, I'll get the hell up out of there. You got me.
What?
No, ma'am.
Get over the fact that you just told me that you summoned a demon. Yes, that's a lot of.
He did.
That's a lot of logical leaps, but I'm gonna go there.
You got a ghost. You got a Toby yourself.
I do.
Terrell might have actually summoned a demon with the fucking fake Ouija board, or with the homemade Ouija
and
board
and a shot
glass.
And a shot.
Was the house empty? Because I know that they were moving out.
Yes, that was the whole thing. It was an empty house.
Okay, that's so fucking scary.
We were sitting on the floor. We were literally on the floor of this house. And it was upstairs, downstairs.
Amazing.
There's like a backyard, and then there's a front door. And when that shit happened, my big ass was out the front door, and I was gone.
I believe in that. Yeah,
that's amazing.
I'm the same way. I believe in that. I'm like, and you know what? I don't care if it makes me sound crazy. I'm safe. I'm free.
No. Yeah, I was out.
Listen, I am 42 years old, and I'm not dead yet. So
it's a good point. Wait, I have so many questions about your dad.
I know, these dark rituals and stuff.
How did that happen?
This isn't a podcast about me.
Is he a wizard? Well,
he might be.
The one time.
Is he a wizard?
Okay, so
he's a
the
wizard.
one time, like, okay, so I was like a big into like role playing games, Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot, and one of the ones that I really got into was the White Wolf Publishing, The Vampire the Masquerade, all those types of things, and like the one book that my dad found, because I like bought Mage the Accession, which was like a magic version of the role playing game, but it's all about different rules and stuff, but it mentions Aleister Crowley, who was a real life wizard, warlock, or
Sex
something.
Magic.
And and my dad saw that, and he immediately told me I had to go throw the book away because it was like the one time like satanic panic, like it was after the satanic panic of the 80s, but like he was like, you can't read this book. And I'm like, it's just it's a game.
But this man has fucking demon books in his basement?
Yeah, he had demonology. Oh, that's weird. Maybe he didn't want to pass the demons to you. He probably thought that You don't believe it anyway.
he's like, you can't be messing with this. And I'm like, it's a role-playing game.
Your dad's like,
and he's
you
like,
don't
no.
know what I've seen.
Basically,
exactly,
it was like,
very that.
Your dad just had like fucking flashbacks to like the Ghost Wars that he fought in like years ago. He's like, you have no idea what I've done for you, son.
That's hella funny.
And I'm saying this with
I like the Elvira hat.
I am saying this with love and
thank you.
respect for your father, because I'm very now convinced that your dad was a wizard.
he
Or
might
like
have been.
some kind of
especially when
like
he saw, like,
demon
that-
fighter or some shit. That's like some Constantine shit.
He loves to collect books, and he's always collected books, and he has always collected like weird ass books. He had a lot of books by Aleister, like I think got books by Aleister Crowley or about him or something. Like just he had a lot. He was very fascinated by it.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know.
All right, we got to stop talking about this because we're not going to get to
Okay.
the movie, and I'm just like
For sure.
Like, all right, well, let's take a quick break.
What before we do, I have a question.
Sure.
What are like some of your favorite movies as an adult favorite horror movies? I'm curious to see like your kind of taste.
Like newer movies, or just
No, any
in
of them.
general?
Like, what are some of your favorites as you've grown older? What are some that you just
I don't know.
love?
I love slashers. Slashers are my favorite.
Okay.
So my favorites I could rewatch over and over and over, like Nightmare on Elm Street, the Scream series. I love found footage films, so any of those. Recent movie like The Craft. Today's the anniversary of The Craft. Turns 27 today. I could rewatch that
shit.
all. Yeah, I love those movies. Not the second one. I'm sorry, just the first one. And I don't know. Those are probably my favorites, I would say. Yeah, definitely.
So you love slashers. What is like your favorite of like the the OG slashers, like the 80s or I guess into the 90s? What's your like favorite?
Probably Freddy
Precious?
Krueger. Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street, probably because I grew up on that. I watched that so much.
Oh, yeah.
I like how shady he is. I like that, a lot of them don't talk. And I like his comebacks. He's all these one-liners. He has cool, like, victims. He has a lot of, for me, I like all his little characters that he knocks off. You take him to the dream world, and I feel like he's the scariest. Because in my opinion, everybody got to sleep. I don't care how much coffee you drink. You got to go to bed, and this man gonna get you. So he's 1,000% my favorite.
So I have to ask, what is like? Do you have what's your ranking of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies? Which is your like favorite to least favorite?
Oh, dang, that's a good one. Okay,
I'm just gonna throw that out
number
there.
one, the
I'm
best.
always curious.
No,
Yeah.
I love the first one, and then I'll probably go. I like 7, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6. I think that it changes, but that's not ranking. Only because, I love Part 7. I watched that recently in the theater with Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund
cool.
and in attendance. I've met Robert 3 times, and it's off my bucket list. Now I just got to meet Beyonce and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I could die happy. Yeah, I met him 3 times. He's great. He's very conversational. He's very knowledgeable. Oh my God, I was so nervous the first time I met him. Oh my God, and I was sick. I was coming down with a cold, and I was like, "Fuck, I should not go." I'm glad I went though. He knows his lighting. We took our little picture together, and he's like, "Oh no, we gotta do it right here." He's awesome. Love it.
That's amazing. He's a bucket list item for me.
So watching Part 7 again as recently in that theater, oh man, it was great. It was a great experience. Great slasher. It was scary. He was dark. I don't know. I love that a lot. Everyone loves Dream Warriors. I feel like those are the answers everyone's going to give you. Oh, Dream Warriors the best. And Dream Master I watched a lot. Like 2, 4, and 1 I watched the most as a kid. I loved Alice. I liked her character. How she's grown.
You're
like,
speaking
this
Terry's
little
language.
timid girl. And then by the end, she's this badass, and I love a badass female. That's my favorite. Yeah. So, So those are. They rotate though, because if I rewatch them now, I might flip them, around. But that's what I can remember. That's my. What is yours?
1, 4, 7, 3, 2, 6, 5.
Nice. So we're around the same. I like
4
5.
is like
more than
5
6.
Is just I think 5 is just boring for me.
But a little child was scary though. A little gremlin little child, and then the nun woman who got raped by all them men. That's so bad. Oh, it was scary. Yeah, it was wild. Yes, bad. I don't know who actually. I didn't. I don't. Was that like the Part 5? Did they come up with that? That's how Freddy came to be the way he is because of that. Because I was like, why do they? I don't remember that from any of the other movies. Yeah. Maybe 5 is the last one. Now that I'm remembering.
6 is like the most derided. I get that, but like, there's something Looney Tunes-esque about it that I just find very funny.
Yeah,
like it's
some
slapstick.
deaths in 6. Some of the kills in 6 were kind of fun.
I just think 5 is a slog to go through. We I can't remember when it was. I think it was like 2017 or 16. I went to Alamo because they did a marathon of all seven of the movies. So it was like a whole long day. And by the time we get to 5 and 6, it's just like, it's too much.
Like Freddy vs. Jason, when that came out, that was a big thing for me. I was Team Freddy the whole way. And I feel like that is a nightmare film. I should be like part 8 because it was a Freddy movie. He needed Jason to instill the fear into all these other teenagers in Elm Street, right? So, yeah, it's like part 8. I don't know. I love Freddy vs. Jason as well. I didn't throw that in the ranking, but I don't know what y'all feel about that. But yeah, I like that movie.
I have a problem with versus films. Like I don't consider AVP to be part of the Aliens franchise, even though most people do. I just like no. AVP, not part of Alien. And I feel the same way about Freddy vs. Jason. Like, it's fun until we get the slur for me. That just ruins it every single freaking time.
I get you.
But yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Okay. Nice.
What about you, Mary Beth? I think we've talked about this before.
I know, but I can't remember what I told you. Because I'm like, fuck. Because I like 2. It's the thing of like I've just rewatched 2, so it's like, damn, I think I like that more than I initially ranked it, but I cannot remember for the life of me.
What's your top 3 then? That'll make it a little easier.
1, 3, and 2 are mine.
Got it. Okay, cool.
1, 3, and
that's cool.
1, 3, and 2. There we go. I sometimes like 1, 3, and 2, and then I think it's 4, 6, 5. But then 7 goes in the middle.
Got it. I love 7. I love seeing Heather back.
Yeah.
No, I love 7 until the ending. I'm not a fan of the kind of going down the Alice in Wonderland ghost.
Oh yeah, yep.
With like that last part, like because all of it is so grounded in like reality that by the time we get to that point, I'm just like, I wish there was something a bit more real about it.
Yeah.
So that's like my only part. That's the only reason it's a little bit lower for me is because I think the ending just sort of doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
Well, we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street because, Terrell, what movie is your Scarred for Life pick that we're talking about today?
Yes, my Scarred for Life pick is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Woo!
Yes.
Freddy's Revenge.
One of the first films I watched as a kid, and I still think about to this day, 1000%.
Hell yeah. So, to catch everyone up, in A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, a teenage boy, played by Mark Patton, is haunted in his dreams by deceased child murderer Freddy Krueger, who is out to possess him in order to continue his reign of terror in the real world.
All right. So, Terrell, bring us back. How old were you when you saw this? How did you see this? Why is this your Scarred for Life pick? Give us your horror story.
So, like I said earlier, I do feel like, I think I watched this when I was like 2 or 3. As I got older, I rewatched it like around 6 and 7. So that's when I started like processing it a bit more. I watched this shit when I was younger and real young. So, watching this, I don't know, I was terrified at the beginning for one. I remember I used to catch the school bus to school as I got older, and every time I would catch the bus, it was the same old dude, and he looked just like Robert Englund. So I was so scared that he gonna drive off a cliff with me. I was like, I don't want to fall asleep on this bus because if I do, I might not wake up. I might be dead, you know. And I don't know, that song, that's the first time I heard that Touch Me All Night Long by, I think it's Kathy Dennis. That when he's dancing, and that's how I clean my room, y'all. I clean my room just like that. So I love that song, by the way. So that scene sticks out to me a lot. And as I got older and I revisited it, I've seen a lot more things that like I could like kind of solely identify with the subtext, how this movie is very gay. Like, a lot. Like I use every time you watch the movie, I see a lot more of it.
Yeah.
But as a kid, it scarred me for life because like I was scared to go to bed. My mom would get mad that I'm watching it, but that's what I wanted to watch. I didn't want to watch like Lion King and Aladdin all the damn time, which I did watch those. My favorite, and Little Mermaid. Like she was sick of that too. I watched that way too much. But
oh my god, Little Mermaid. I have to interject really quickly because Little Mermaid. When I was a kid, when one of my friends had it on VHS, and I would watch Kiss the Girl on that repeat. Boat? Yes, wishing I was Ariel getting kissed by Prince Eric.
Get you a Prince Eric.
But I would watch it over and over and over and over again. I did not know I was gay, ladies and gentlemen and gentle days. I did not know I was gay.
Yes, I love that movie. I love Ursula, and I love Little Mermaid. I remember I had the VHS too. I think I still have it. My dad rebought it for me because I used to wake up every morning and pop that VHS in. And one morning my fingers got stuck, and I remember screaming. And my dad came down, had to break the VCR and to get my fingers out. And I was more mad that my tape was broke. I couldn't watch my Flounder and Kiss the Girl and Part of Your World. I couldn't sing my songs. I was a mess. I didn't know either. But then you know. My mama knew. But so my dad got me a new one, and I still have that to this day. The one that opens up with the dick on the cover. Yes, I got that.
With the dick on the cover? Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yes, I still got it.
I had that one. Because I remember when I found out about it, I went and I looked at that, and I was scouring it for the
I'm
dick.
keeping that too. That's going to be locked away. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
No, yeah. Though between that, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, like I watched that a lot. Child's Play 2 and Candyman. Those I watched so much as a kid. But yeah, a lot of things about Nightmare 2 I do think about like over and over and over. I don't know. That bus driver for sure, though. I wish I had a picture because you guys would be like, oh yeah, that's definitely that bus driver. From the beginning and the end, looks just like him. Yeah.
So wait, when did you end up seeing the first Nightmare on Elm Street then?
I saw that later, and when I was younger, I didn't like it as much because I don't know why. I don't know. The first one I saw it later. Yes, when I did marathons and stuff, and I love part 1. Nancy is one of my top 3 favorite final girls ever.
Best.
Oh man, love that. That's like a near masterpiece. Wes Craven did his thing with that movie, and so I saw it later in life. Probably around 8 or 9ish is probably when I saw the first one because it's weird. I saw 2 and 4 the most out of that whole series. 2 and 4
later in life at 8 years old.
Yeah, no, because I started so literally. My mom, my brothers, they can all tell you like that's all I wanted to watch was horror films.
That's so
1000%.
So you didn't want to watch 1 for a while. You just liked 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was the one you said. But all right, cool.
You know, you're a kid and you're just like, stuck with one thing. I don't know. My nephews do the same thing. They want to rewatch the same. Let's watch something new.
Yeah.
So I get it. That's probably what happened. Yeah.
It's just interesting that was the one you latched onto. But yeah.
And I met Mark Patton.
Oh, did you? Sorry, go.
Yes,
no,
I met him at Monster Palooza a few years ago. He had that book, Jesse's Diary, that he came out. He was so funny, too, because he was telling me that he had lots of sex in this book. I looked at him, I said, I'm definitely buying this book. He signed it. And I remember me, Russell, we got back to the hotel. We were looking through it to try to find the sex. Ain't no sex in that book. He lied to me. After he put his claws in my neck all sensual. I could send you all that picture, because he sure did.
Please.
He was flirting with his old ass. But I love him. He's great. Y'all need to watch Swallowed. He's amazing in that movie.
He's great in Swallowed.
Yes, he is. Yes, Mark Patton. Shout out to Mark.
The wrong queen.
Yes, I still haven't met the Meyer. What's her name? She played Lisa. I want to meet her and Ron. Oh, I like me some Ron when I was the guy, the one that he was gonna go stay with instead of going to Freaky Deaky with that other girl.
The one that he definitely is flirting with instead of the girl.
Yes, him. I liked him.
He wakes up in the middle of the night with the light on, very close.
Yes, yes, him.
Yeah, so I have kind of a similar relationship to like the series as a whole, where because I watched them in the 80s was when I was introduced to them, like late 80s. And the thing is that especially at that time, you watch what you can get your hands on, and so I watched the first one, and I remember the fourth one. My little hole in the wall video store. It was in Alaska, and they had a VHS cover, but the tape was beta. Oh, so it was a beta tape stuffed in a VHS case for it. And so the fourth one is the one that I watched a lot. And so I watched like 1 and 4 and then slowly started to fill in the rest. So you watch them out of order. And I would gravitate because I owned 4. It was the only Nightmare on Elm Street movie I owned. Yeah. So I would watch that one constantly. And so that's why that one's my favorite. I never really liked the second one as a kid growing up, although there were things about it that like adult Terry's like, I know why you watched that movie. Because like there's like man ass, there's a little bit of S&M stuff going on here. There's like some really like kinky stuff that went way over little 8-year-old Terry's head when I saw this for the first time, that now I'm like, oh, I get it. But the one thing I do remember about this movie is that as a kid, whenever I watched a horror movie, especially when there's like a villain in it, I would always write down what could kill this monster, because I always wanted to be prepared in case it was real. Yeah. And so I would keep a list of the things that would kill Freddy, and one of them was getting kissed by a girl, gonna kill Freddy. Like that was
basically that was my list. In this one. Yeah.
It was like, I had like all of it. Well, you can kill Freddy by turning your back on him, by kissing him, by putting his bones in a junkyard and consecrating. Like, I was like listing all these things. If Freddy comes for me, I know what to do. I need to find a girl that's going to kiss him, and he's just going to die.
Kiss
like,
the girl, like Little Mermaid.
Yes, exactly.
That is actually what the song is about. Kissing Freddy Krueger to defeat him.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You gotta kiss Freddy. Wow.
Oh my god. This is the Little Mermaid that we really want. That's the live action one I want.
Speaking of which, that movie also has a drag queen. Freddy is kind of a drag queen. Yeah. I think there's a connection here.
Sure. Yeah. All right. That's fine. But, okay, so Terry, I know that you are not a big fan of this movie.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay. Why is that?
Tell me about it.
Well, there's a lot of things. Like, okay, the big thing for me that I latch onto as an adult, now that I've watched a whole lot of movies and I have an understanding of the 80s a little bit more, the big thing for me is that it bothers me, like, especially, I think now it's a lot different, but if you had Googled the gayest horror movie ever, you would get every single time it would be Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is accidentally sometimes the most gayest movie. And I think there's a BuzzFeed article, because I Googled it right before we record, and there's a BuzzFeed article from 2016 proclaiming it the gayest movie ever. And I'm like, is it though? And is that something that we should be like? The 80s had a problem with homosexuality, where a lot of movies that had queer subtext, the whole idea is that it must be vanquished so that the heteronormative way of life of America can continue. So you have movies like Fright Night, where it's like definitely. The vampire is sort of like the queer outsider, coming into suburbia and tempting your young boys to become gay. And he must be defeated. Exactly. So he must be defeated. Then you have like Lost Boys, where it's the same thing, where the vampires are representing like the otherness in society, and they must be vanquished so that the boy and the girl can be happy together. You have Near Dark, another vampire movie from that time period, where it's literally the blood in your body is turning you into a demon, and it must be like taken out so that you can become straight again. And here we have a movie in which the queerness is again subtext, and it has to be defeated through a kiss from a woman to dispel all that sort of internalized homosexuality and embrace. So I find it troubling that this is like the movie that's celebrated for being the gayest, because I find the whole story behind it to be kind of 80s homophobic. So I have a problem. I guess that's where I get stuck behind, because it's like the whole idea is this kid is wrestling with his internalized homosexuality, and by the end of the movie, he has vanquished his gay thoughts. He has kissed the girl. He has killed his crush that is the one that is turning him, that you could look at as like being sort of like the otherness force of like attraction that is pulling him towards being gay. And then it's defeated, and Freddy moves on to someone else, because it's at the very end of the movie we get the stinger of him bursting out of the girl. So it's like the idea that he is now trying to possess someone else potentially. So like I don't know. I find that whole thing. Okay.
Interesting.
I find that whole thing just sort of like, it's, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me as an adult.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I totally get that, because it's like, I just saw this for the first time like a couple years ago, because I was not a big like franchise person. And so when I watched this the first time, I saw a lot of that, and I still do. But this time watching, I also thought about the ending more as like, just because you supposedly rejected your your homosexuality, you haven't escaped the hell of Freddy Krueger. Like, even though you think you kind of found out how to vanquish him, you actually didn't. I saw it a little bit more nihilistically, I guess, in terms of like, even him conforming to heteronormativity. And like, honestly, that might not have been what they meant, though, because I know that the story behind this is weird, and like, I know that this was probably
with that
not
director
like
and all that.
Yeah, like I 100%
watch My Scream Queen. Yep.
Yes, like I 100% know that it's not a good story. I guess watching it now, just without thinking that, I saw that ending a little bit more nihilistically. But like, I know what you mean, though, Terry.
that last part has been something that is like I've changed my thoughts about throughout the years because yes, at first I did think as you did, Mary Beth, where it's like, oh, you know, you can vanquish and I'm using quotations, listeners, you can vanquish the homosexuality, but it is still going to be there. You can try to cover it up, but dude is gay. Like I could see that, but also because this is a body horror movie and because this is all about Freddy bursting forth from bodies, the fact that he seems to be reaching through her as opposed to like coming out of him again, kind of like, for me, makes it seem as if we're no longer haunting Jesse per se, we're haunting someone else, because it's always been in this movie, it sets it up as like he has to burst forth from some body in order to do it. So that's kind of like how my mind has changed over the years on this film. But I know what you're meaning, because I definitely saw that at one point too.
And, like, the director probably was like, no one's ever going to think this hard about the second Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but too bad you still made a pretty... But I
it's
see
very
the frustration.
different from the others, too.
It is.
Yeah,
very,
like,
very
Terry,
different.
Dark horse.
And I understand, Terry, like, your kind of not hesitation, but, like, frustration with how it's read as, like, the super gay horror movie, because I agree. Like, that's a lot of people, like, making clickbait headlines and also not understanding like context of horror like at all. Like that is just frustrating in and of itself, because this like isn't the gayest horror movie ever, like by any stretch of the imagination.
It wasn't even then.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. So it's just like very weird. But anyway, it is a dark horse in the series though. Like it's one of the only ones that has like a final boy, and I love
that. I like the changes that it did. That's why I think I connected with it too. I understand where you guys are coming with it, but I don't know, it was kind of cool seeing that the other aspect, like with Halloween Ends, and a lot of people didn't like that movie, but it opened up with not your natural babysitter was a dude versus, you know, the natural always had the big bimbo girl or whatever. Yeah. And had this guy, and he was the babysitter, and then, I don't know. For me, I thought it was kind of cool at that time, especially. They didn't really have that. So it's kind of, I don't know. I liked.
Yeah, well, again, like, it does flip the script so much in giving us, like, a final boy character, and we're following him, and it is, like, it feels so much kind of like Halloween 3 a little bit, because I feel like we go.
I love that movie too. I hated it as a kid. There's no Michael.
In this one versus the others, and pardon me if I'm misremembering, it's not as much with like when it's women, like I want your body. In this one though, it's very much like Freddy talking about possessing the like this male body and coveting the body and like being a little bit more sensual in a weird way rather than kind of like wisecracking. Like he's not as funny. Like he's like he's really scary in this one. Like he's more of a terrifying force to be reckoned with rather than kind of like the wisecracking guy we sort of saw in the first one, and then we see
because in the first one he was kind of funny, like cutting his fingers off and like he was playing with them in the first one. He didn't do that in part 2.
He was like a cat in the first one. So like played with his victims and just tormented them before finally murdering them. I like the design of Freddy in this one. He feels more skeevy. Those red contacts that he has are like really pop. So there's a lot of things I think structurally this film does really well. I love the idea of taking it into more of a possession film from like the first one, where it's like in your dreams, and now it's like it's literally like an exorcism film. Like he is possessed by Freddy, and I like that it incorporates the body horror aspect of it. Like there's a lot of things on a structural level I think are really fascinating with this one, particularly since it was like a hard left turn from the first film. I do feel like, especially watching it now, I feel like someone fed in a bunch of Nightmare on Elm Street scripts and then an AI spit out the script, because there's a lot of weird things about this movie that I just like. There's some filmmaking things in here that just sort of wow me. Like the fact that Nightmare on Elm Street is supposed to be set in Ohio, and we have palm trees
in
and
Ohio.
a desert. In Ohio, normal Ohio set dressing. And I love at the opening we're on a bus and there's palm trees. I also love at the very end it says Springwood, Indiana is the bus. I'm like, where is this set? Because I'm pretty sure that we've established that it's Springwood, Ohio, and nothing about this is telling me Ohio. We're driving off into a desert, which does not exist in Ohio.
It was a dream, though. I think that was a dream.
I think it was a dream.
It was a dream. You're being too shady. You're being a shady buck tonight. Yes.
My notes about this movie last night as I was watching it. There's a lot.
You had a lot of things to say. Okay. You had some thoughts.
Man. I mean, like, it's definitely really weird because, I mean, like, the exploding parakeets are kind of bizarre. And, like,
the first death of the movie are 2 parakeets.
Yeah. That's true, actually.
And it's 30 minutes into the movie before the first death, and it is a pair of parakeets, and then it's nothing until the coach.
Why are you being a hater?
The coach. Yeah, we're right. I think so. Yeah, the coach, and then it was Ron died.
But this one, like, isn't as much of a slasher.
It had the dogs. Remember the dogs? Y'all like the dogs?
The dogs are creepy with the children's face.
Oh, God.
Remember the dogs?
This one, to me, is not as much of a it doesn't start as a slasher. It is like a possession film. And then,
it is.
But it's so weird because it's like a possession film. It's more like trying to be this kind of psychological examination of this kid, but like in a very clunky way. Like, I think they're trying to like, look, we're really getting into the mind of a gay teenager. And you're like, I don't think you are, but I guess maybe you thought in the 80s that was what a gay teenager was like. But but then it takes a sharp left when it becomes like a massacre, which is it's so wild how it starts out as this kind of like weird emotional movies, like serial killer movie almost, rather than us like a slasher per se, if that makes sense. And then hard left turn at the pool party, where all of a sudden it's just like every person has been murdered by Freddy Krueger running around and like laughing at teenagers. It's like,
it sure livened the party up. I remember them looking bored. They were just sitting around. You had Lisa like, oh, I should go see Jesse, but I can't leave the party. I'm like, bitch, you just sitting there doing nothing but putting your feet in the water. You look bored as hell. And you got the other guy trying to talk to the other chick, the chick that was there. She's like, leave me alone. Like, they look bored and unhappy. It wasn't a happy party. And the hot dogs that dude made were burnt. I don't know if it was reminiscent of Freddy, but they had burnt hot dogs and hamburgers. I would not be eating that. I don't know. That party was whack. So Freddy
you don't like
burnt?
You don't like burnt hot dogs?
I don't like burnt hot dogs.
Oh my God. The black, get them all seared, get them black and blistered and just pop them. That is the best.
So you like the Freddy dongs. Okay.
I do like the Freddy dongs. Give me those Freddy dongs.
Yes, period. Okay, turn up.
A little bit of mustard on it.
Oh, perfect. I love mustard.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm
sorry, Mary Beth.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Here's the thing I was thinking of last night. I was like, boy, Meryl Streep had a busy year in 1985. She did Plenty, she did Out of Africa, and she also played Lisa in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Meryl Streep? I don't get the joke.
She looks like Meryl Streep. She looks like Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
With red hair, she does a little bit. Is she related to her? What's her name? Deborah Meyer. She not.
No, they're not related.
Kim Myers.
Kim Myers. Sorry.
I kept thinking that. I'm like, it's Meryl.
It's Meryl.
Sister.
It's Meryl. This is why she needs to have gotten an Oscar at this point, because she is impersonating an actress playing a character.
Oh my God.
Like, this is Meryl. Like, all my notes, like, I totally forgot their name was Lisa because I just kept writing Meryl. It's Meryl.
That's funny.
I'm telling you, she looks like Meryl.
Yeah. Oh, Kim.
Yep. It's true. And the flirting was so bad between the two of them.
Oh, yeah, they had no chemistry, in my opinion.
Absolutely
no chemistry.
Zero.
Even when she walked, everything they did, a little lunch they had. When she walked in, she put her hand by that probe game in the closet, bringing that book, and they had that little moment. That didn't, even that kiss was like, they tried it. Like, it was, how many takes it took?
Because it wasn't a good kiss. Oh, not good.
I didn't believe it at all.
No.
That wouldn't have cured me from nothing. I'm sorry. Not that kiss.
Not Meryl.
Oh
Meryl's not gonna
not Meryl.
straight.
But like, also just like she comes in and she's like, "What's that?" Like pulls a diary off the shelf. I don't like.
Yeah,
it was just, like,
she
so
did.
Nosy. It was just
nosy
like,
ass girl. He's supposed to be helping him clean. You digging through his shit.
Like
right?
that. I wish they had just kept them as as friends, because like it was just so
friends.
bad. Like it was just like, ugh. I like it better when he's with his buddy. His
Me too
hot
with
buddy.
Ron. They had more chemistry.
They did.
Yeah,
fellas.
They had way
is it
more
gay
chemistry.
to like wrestle with the hotshot baseball, star until your
he was
hands
pulling his
come down,
pants
show
down
your,
with his
your
booty
jock
out.
strap.
Just the booty. Just the
Why
booty.
is he wearing? I don't understand. I get why sports people will wear a jock, but like it's to put a cup. And would we see a brief shot of that front side, that is cloth. That ain't protecting you from no ball. Why are you wearing a jock strap?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
I don't have any answers for you. I'm so sorry.
I'm confused about the relationships here because it sounds as if he is a new person to the school. Do
Jesse?
all new people? Yeah, because like he just moved in. When he talks to Grady, his boyfriend, he's like, yeah, we just bought that house. My parents just moved in. We bought the house. It's been vacant for 5 years. Do people go to the school? Do they just get automatically assigned a girlfriend as Meryl, like his girlfriend? Because I'm like, I don't understand how they're all of a sudden seemingly dating from the opening start, but the dad doesn't know that there's a girl showing up to the house. They've literally just been there for 2 days. I'm like, what?
They were dating. I don't remember that.
Aren't they kind of dating
in the beginning?
I don't think. I think they just hung out.
There's like
she
friends.
came over
like,
to see how he was doing, and it was just a new kid, and she just took it. I guess an attraction to him. I didn't get the. I don't know.
Because they were neighbors, and she was.
Yeah,
it was her ride to school because they were neighbors, and he had a car.
Yeah, I don't think that they were friends
ago.
Terry, you're just trying to find something wrong.
It's the 80s. Everyone's
were you that friendly in the 80s?
Friends.
I was a little baby. I didn't know, but
everyone in the 80s when they moved it next door to someone exactly their age of their exact sexual attraction, and they became friends instantly. That is how they assigned friendships. A lot of movies like that.
A lot of them in the 80s.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Oh, this movie. I mean, like, look, I totally get it. It's definitely homophobic, but I just choose to interpret it as, like, it just feels more to me like he's being punished for hiding it, and that Freddy isn't necessarily, because I guess, Terry, you saying, like, Freddy is like, kind of, like, monstrous homosexuality, like, represents that. Freddy
I thought he was trying to help him come out of that. I think Robert Englund even said that in a Q&A or something along those lines, that he was trying to help him come to with what his true desires were, I guess, in a sense of
so he kills the people that he loves.
I don't know. Well, I get what you're saying, because I know, because he went to Ron. I don't know.
Yeah,
well, he's Freddy though. He a demon. He's possessed. He don't kill all these people. He almost killed his sister. He loves his sister too. I get you.
It feels more like it's like it's punishment, and it's fucked up, but it's like punishment for like internalizing your own sexuality and trying to fight it. And this is kind of like the toxicity that appears when you try to hide who you truly are and what happens, and like. And in turn, like, that internalized kind of homophobia and that self-hatred manifests as violence. So if you are, like, you know, Freddy's all about fear. So if the thing you're scared of the most is yourself and your own desire, then he makes you scared of yourself and turns you into the monster you think you are. And that is very obviously can be very easily interpreted as homophobia 100%. But I guess just in seeing this, I see it so much as, like, the toxicity manifesting from hiding who you are.
I get that, and I could see a reading of that, but then also, like, the fact that a straight kiss vanquishes those feelings. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It just
and again,
but it didn't though, because it's still going.
If it's the nihilistic ending, then it follows in those footsteps of, like, he thought that a kiss would free him, but actually that heterosexual kiss, he is still in the hell and in that dream hellscape with Freddy.
Yep, exactly.
I don't know. That's how I read it, but I see yours too. I don't know. Movies, they're complicated and weird. And this, again, this is the 80s. It's not gonna have good. It's not gonna have perfect. And we all know, like, the story behind it is kind of
it's a whole
not good either.
Yeah.
So it's one of those movies that's just like that makes you make that exact noise when you like it, but understand that it is problematic in nature and existence.
I do love that we have Dawn's Place. The S&M club that we go to.
And he had that dream he went into. He was at the gay club.
So, okay, that's actually that's a good point that I want to bring up. So do you think people see Freddy, or do you think they see Jesse standing there with Freddy's glove?
Oh, good question. Good question.
Oh, because that happens a few times where he has the glove, he looks in the mirror, and he sees Freddy in the mirror, but it's really him holding that glove. That
and
happened
he's
a couple
always
times,
covered in blood.
And he has all the blood on him. Remember, he ran to Lisa. He's like, "Oh, there's blood on my hands. There's blood is on my hands." I don't even know how he got out that room because the mom and dad were on the outside when he killed Mr. Ron Grady. And then how did he get out? Did he jump out? Maybe jump out the window.
He jumped out the window.
He had jumped. Okay, jump out the window.
Yeah, he climbs out the window with everyone trying to break into the room for sure.
But I get you. So I wonder. They probably see him. Wait,
that's what I was wondering.
Because Freddy didn't physically come out until that pool party scene, right? If I remember right. Yeah, so they probably saw him, but he saw Freddy because Freddy's the one trying to possess and come through him.
And so that's kind of why, like, I was so you said that, you know, in the dream with Dawn's place, but I think that was real life because I think he is maybe sleepwalking, maybe that kind of thing is going on there, but otherwise, it wouldn't make sense to me that he would show up at this place, then show up at the high school, and then kill the high school teacher, and then be found wandering naked. Like it doesn't completely add up if that was just a dream. And so I'm just this watch was the first time I started thinking. I was like, wait, do people just see Jesse there? Is Freddy just like fucking him over? And it's actually whenever Freddy is chasing someone, it's really inside Jesse's body. Like that kind of made me start questioning things.
I did too, because I was thinking that especially in the pool scene when he is like running at everybody. I was like, wait a second, who are we actually seeing? Because he has that whole revelation that like Jesse has that revelation that's like, I've been killing people, like he's been making me kill people. Yep. So I kind of saw it as, for a lot of the time, it was like people were seeing him, and that's why I forgot how it ended. This when I was watching it this time, I'm like, wait a second, does he really like? If he did all of it and he's back, then maybe he didn't, because I feel like he wouldn't, like, if he was a mass murderer, they wouldn't have like let him out of whatever place they would have.
I know,
put him
just
so
go back into
quickly.
civilization like nothing happened.
And like, I know it's like a dream at the end, I guess too, and like that might be like his own dream of like he didn't actually get arrested and put in jail forever. But I don't know. I kind of thought that. Until the end when she sees him as Freddy. Maybe. I don't know.
I just like how different this movie is too, because part 3 goes right back to the shenanigans, and he becomes a bit more characteristic in this next one. You get Heather back as Nancy. She dies in that one. I was so bummed when I was younger. She was like, "Oh no, they took her out." And then you have the new characters, and they go on to 4, and he just gets more camped up as it goes. So yeah, so this is definitely very, very different and dark. And the more we talk about it, you can see different vibes and different twists and turns that this movie took, and no matter how chaotic it is, I don't know. I like part 2, but he gets back to his campy ways, which I love. I love my Freddy. Welcome to Primetime, bitch. That's my favorite. He has some really cool kills in Dream Warriors. They're all great too. I almost met all of them. I get them all the time on Blu-ray. Like Kevin Sagos, who plays the one, what the fuck is his name in that movie? Anyways, I heard his hand at Sinister Creature Con. I feel bad. I never know my own strength. I remember I shook his hand and he screamed. I was like, oh my God, I feel so bad. He was like, oh, you got a grip. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was slightly nervous because he was one of my favorites as a kid. And because he didn't give a fuck. He was like, I was trying to sleep and you bringing me to your dreams. Like, he was great. And then I met Taryn, the one who played Taryn. She's super nice. Remember, she was counting her money. She's trying to get her coin. I was okay, girl, just sign this Blu-ray. You can go about your business. But she was super nice. Yeah, I don't know. I almost met all the Dream Warriors. I can't wait to meet the rest. But yeah.
That's amazing.
I love Freddy.
So I do love when we actually get them. I love the kind of set pieces of the murders. Not necessarily. I think the pool party's a little but I like Grady's death, and I really like the
I like Grady's too. Yep.
Schneider's. I like the way it's set up because it definitely pulls in the whole S&M vibe where he's like getting dragged down with and tied up to the wall, and I'm like, this is why you need a safe word.
Yeah. Oh yes, very much safe word. Did y'all like that movie? Oh my God, I liked it overall, but damn, it was late too. We talked about this during the jury, but I mean, my favorite part of that movie was when I heard you go, "Oh Lord!" Oh God! She was peeing in her mouth. I was like, "Oh my God!"
Everybody, this is a movie we watched at the Unnamed Footage Festival called Safe Word.
666 Safe Word. That's a good movie, though.
I really enjoyed it. But so I like I like the teacher's death, and then I think Grady's death is fantastic. The body horror of that scene, I do think is really good, where it just like Freddy is bursting out of Jesse's stomach, and the way
that was
the
good.
shot,
Yep.
the shot when Freddy stands up and the skin just sort of falls off like he's a snake and he's just molted, and Jesse's skin like sort of slides off of him is such a great moment.
Yep.
I love that moment.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like this movie has so many incredible moments in it. It's just like the writing is sloppy, I think is what it comes down to. I think the writer did not really know. I think he intended to do something and it was very sloppy, but he wrote some really cool kill sequences, and it's just like a very strange franchise entry, but I love it.
Yeah.
Like every franchise has that weird dark horse entry that you're like, the hell is that?
Yeah.
And I feel like that, I know that like a lot of the other ones are goofy, but they're still kind of more in line with what Nightmare on Elm Street's kind of like whole thing is. And this one is the dark horse, and I don't know, I still like it.
I like the dark horses, so.
I think part of the problem with the script, though, is that it literally came out less than a year after the first one premiered.
Mm-hmm.
And so like,
that's right.
Because 84 was the first.
Yeah, because it was November 18th, I want to say, of like, it was mid-November for the first one, and it was the November 1st for the second one. So it was not even a full year turnaround. It's sort of like a Scream 2 situation where they turn it around like super
Scream
quick.
5 and 6.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think that might be part of the problem. I also, one of the like shining stars of our podcast, the one that we love, is Christopher Young. Christopher Young is a composer, and he has like composed so many movies that we have talked about. We talked about recently Copycat. He composed the music to that.
Oh, with Dutch. I listened to that.
Yeah, he composed the music to Urban Legend, which is an episode we have coming out. He composed this one. He composed like wow. I'm trying to think of what else he composed, but like Hellraiser,
the original, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
and the second one, Hellraiser 2, I believe he also did. He's done Sinister. He did The Grudge. The Grudge was
he's done fucking
Sarah Michelle Gellar. Oh, okay.
Yep. Which is also another episode or movie we've covered on the podcast.
Oh, you did? Oh, I gotta find that one. I'm scared of your face. You didn't like that one?
What? No, I love The Grudge. Oh, yeah, no. Sorry, no.
Shady book?
No.
Love, oh, okay.
No, I actually love The Grudge. I think The Grudge is a lot of fun. But like, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, an episode of The Twilight Zone, Invaders from Mars, the Trick or Treat, the 1980s one, not Trick or Treat. Hellraiser, Flowers in the Attic, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, The Fly 2.
Jesus, he has really done
Damn,
everything.
he has a catalog. He has
The Dark Half, Tales from the Hood.
Oh,
he was the
I
composer
love that.
For.
Hell yeah, that one
Oh,
scared me too. Those little puppets. Mm-hmm. Yes, the wraparound, that guy. Ooh, I remember that as a kid.
Like, this dude is like the soundtrack of my like childhood into teens, like all of the movies that I would watch over and over again. And he's still working today. He did Sinister. He did Drag Me to Hell. He's doing some Apple TV show right now. Like he did the Pet Sematary remake.
Oh, I forgot about that movie. Oh, wow.
He's done a lot. He has.
I didn't like that one.
I do. I'm a huge fan of that.
You like the remake?
I did like the remake.
I'm a huge fan of the remake.
I like the remake.
All right, y'all.
But he's like a composer for 132 movies and a lot of horror movies.
Wow, that's Wow, that's
and
great.
TV. Movies and TV he's been a composer for.
That sounds...
Yeah.
He composed an episode of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. He did the Autopsy
I still need
episode.
to finish that. Okay.
Oh, the Autopsy one's good.
So, like, this is a man who has defined a lot of movies that we have covered on this podcast, and I think that's fantastic. I love his score for this. I don't think it's a Nightmare on Elm Street score. Like, I miss the Nightmare on Elm Street theme that we don't even get in this.
Oh, yeah, we don't. Oh, I didn't think of that. That's it's in all of them, I would say. Yeah.
That's That's true.
not
I
in
didn't
the
even
second
think
one.
about that. Huh.
No, none of that. And so it doesn't feel like from the very opening shot, this movie does not feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. We got that sort of blue steel, Freddy's Revenge titling on the screen that feels like it's from an action movie almost, like from that decade. It just, there's so many weird things about this movie that I think is kind of fun, but I also feel like this doesn't feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie to me. Just because there's so much that was different.
I get you. Okay.
Well, do we want to wrap this up and get this our rating out of 5? I'm very curious what Terry is going to give this.
Yeah, I want to start. Let's start with him because he's Shady Boots. Come on, Shady Butt.
Shady Boots.
Oh, one thing. Again, going back to, I think it was Grady's death. When he opens his mouth and there's the eye.
Oh, yeah, the red in the back of his throat.
He
was in his throat.
Good.
In his throat.
Yeah, he was in his throat.
That part was incredible. I forgot about how good the body horror was in this one, honestly.
And the claws coming out the fingertips, that was great. Yes.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
No, thank you.
And there's so many things in here that I think are good. I also really love the set decoration of this. There were so many little things in the background. Terrell, you mentioned the probe board game on the shelf. But like there's like a board in the kitchen that every single time we see it, it says someone called, Zach called, someone called. I'm like, who are all these people and who are they calling? Because
I know they just moved in. Or I like the little girl, the little sister and her little cereal box. Because I used to do it all the time. I was digging up the toys. Yeah, and she put on those fingers. I used to have those too, but I had the green ones with the red fingernails. What's the witch ones? Yes.
But there's so many little things hidden in the background that I do think is really kind of fun. Like if you were someone to like watch all the different things, like when the room is melting and it's so hot and there's the phallic candle that is like waxy and tipping over.
I remember.
Like,
yep. It was so hot in that room. I'd be dying. I don't like heat. I'd rather my windows will all be open. I'm too big to have all this.
I want it to be. Same.
Yeah. Period. I need some air circulating up in this bitch. Period.
Seriously.
Waking up sweating. I was like, oh my God.
I would not have been in that house because I would have the first night it's like 97 degrees. I'm like, I'm out. I don't care where I'm sleep on the street. I mean, this is Ohio in quotations. Like, get me out of that house. For real. Get me out of that house.
Okay, now do you want to give it?
Oh yeah, sorry, we got off topic again.
How many exploding parakeets out of 5 are you giving Nightmare on Elm Street 2, my friend? Very curious about what you're about to say.
Well, I will say when I went to go add this to Letterboxd, I had rated it as a 3.
Okay.
2.5.
Oh my Lanta.
Wow.
I tell you, every time I watch this movie, I like it less. And it makes me sad because this is my favorite franchise. I love this and Alien are like my favorite franchises. Those are like exactly. If you were to say like Terry franchise, it would be Fredhead followed by Alien because those series are just so important to me. And I don't know, there's something about this movie that I think that there's things in it that it does really well. I love the idea of changing Freddy so far from the first one so that now he's like a possession story. I like that idea. I like the body horror. I like some of the deaths that we get. We don't really get that many. I mean, when I was looking up the deaths, everyone was including everyone that died at the pool party, which I'm like, that's not, those are nameless characters. They don't even have like a personality. I'm like, in terms of like the actual people dying, we literally have like 2 people. We have Grady and Schneider. The rest of them, we don't even know their names. And so like, I think that I love those deaths, but I feel like there's not that many in this for a series that would eventually go on to have such a huge body count. I don't know. There's so much about it that it's fine. But that's me. What about you, Mary Beth?
I give it 3.5 exploding parakeets. I know this movie has its flaws, but as I talked about, I see it as a fascinating kind of look at repressed homosexuality, and I think it's just so weird and different and bizarre and like campy because it doesn't mean to be as weird as it is. Like exploding parakeets and S&M clubs when he is like soaking wet. And just, like, logically so bizarre. And yet I just really enjoy watching this. And I actually, opposite of you, Terry, like it more each time that I watch it. So I'm going to go 3.5. But, Terrell, you have the final word. How many exploding parakeets out of 5 do you give this?
4 exploding parakeets. Because I probably would give it more, but I will give it 4 because it wasn't my top 3. But I was... growing up, I've watched this so many damn times. I remember like drawing pictures about the scenes out of the movie, being on the bus, seeing that guy, and I'm thinking about this movie. The movie I thought about so much. So I have to like, I don't know, I've connected with it and I grew up with it. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, like how dark it was, how scary it was. Him bursting out of it. I was scared. Going to bed, I'm like, okay, is he going to burst out of me? Like, I don't know. And I was traumatized with these fucking films. I don't know. But we're watching it, rewatching it every time I do watch it, especially seeing and watching the documentary, seeing what this went through. And I was like, oh, this is fucked up. But I don't know. I like how different it was, how dark it was. The subject matter, I understand all that. Terry, I get what you're saying. But I don't know. I like this movie. I think it was a nice watch. I mean, if you want to be creeped out, a lot of things I didn't like I couldn't deal with. Like I said, the hot room, I wouldn't do that. There was no chemistry between him and Miss Old Girl, at least Meryl Streep, like y'all say.
Meryl Streep.
I don't know. I really did like this movie. I was creeped out. Robert Englund, he scares me. He's my favorite ultimate slasher. He brings back the camp in the next couple movies, but part 2, I like that it's a dark horse. I like different things, and yes, the overlooked one in the franchise. My favorite, 4 stars.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and bringing this delightful queer movie.
Yes. Thank you all for having me. Thanks for reaching out, you guys.
Of course.
Of course.
Where can our listeners find you, and what do you have that you can plug and share?
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at Terrell88, and the Overlook Theater's YouTube page. I have my Blu-ray Tuesday with Terrell. The newest episode, I have my 80th episode dropping. Isn't that crazy? I thought it was crazy.
That's amazing.
80 episodes.
That's wild.
I've been doing unboxings. I'm doing a franchise ranking coming up. I recorded my first episode, hasn't dropped yet, for Final Destination. So stay tuned. It just had its anniversary of its first film. So I rank all the 5. Part 6 was just announced. I love Final Destination. I don't know if you guys talked about that one yet, but that's a great franchise.
So
that's so funny.
It's funny to bring that up because one, we did talk with the first Final Destination with Cooper Coach from Swallowed.
Yeah.
So we talked about that, and then right now, because Mary Beth has only ever seen the first one for that episode.
What?
So we're going through on our little cuts or mini-sode.
You have to watch. It's almost like a slasher in itself. Death is the slasher. Tony Todd.
I just watched the second one for our mini-sode, so I've seen 1 and 2. And
every time I'm behind that type of truck with them fucking, I always think of Final Destination Part 2. Man, and Miss Clear with her, I don't like that name. Why didn't they just name her Claire? But anyways, Final Destination, love that franchise.
Rivers. The rivers are so clear.
Yeah.
yes,
that. But yes, that's what I have coming up. This you can follow all the updates there with that, and stay tuned for Up Virtual. That's coming up soon as well.
Yay!
Yes,
and listeners, we'll throw a link to Terrell's YouTube show and everything in the comments. So
I appreciate that.
Make sure to go check that out. Of course.
Thanks, guys.
So listeners, you've heard from us. We want to hear from you. What was your experience with A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge? You can send us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us directly on Twitter. I am at MB McAndrews.
And I'm at Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scarred Podcast.
And please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe. And if you want to help support us, sign up through Patreon.
Thank you to Eric Power for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our music. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please stay safe out there. Most importantly, stay creepy.
And until next time.